let's add some HTML. Let's add some CSS to our text so we can actually start manipulating that one. The first one we're going to do is actually, I think I forgot something in my index. So if you go back here, yeah, I want to add an ID to this block one as well. So where we have our text holder, I want to add an ID just called mix mode, so we can target that specifically as well. So let's click save, go back to our style sheet and go down here, just push the spotlight down, and the first one will be the mix mode here, right? So this is just some stand-up setup where I'll have a margin of 0, so it follows the other blocks that we created. I'm going to use height auto, so make sure it does it itself. The same with, not the same with, but we're going to use display and we're going to use flex in this case. Oh my spelling is not good. And we're going to align the item for center. We're going to justify as well, in this case content center, and we're going to add a background color of black here so it fits in. So that's the first one we're going to create. The next one we're going to target is this one here, the class of blah blah blah, long words. So dot paste in or write by yourself, that's okay. And then we're going to add a little bit more. We're going to use position here, and we're going to set this to relative, so it's relative to the parent element. We're going to overflow hidden, so hide stuff. We're going to set the width for auto, so it can do that itself. And we're going to add the background color of black here as well. We're going to add a little bit more later on, but we'll just leave this empty for here so I don't remember you don't have to write this. This is just for me so I remember. So that's the first part of it, right? And we're going to add one for the text as well. So let's fill this one out. So that's .text. It's in here as well. So this one, where we have these two elements here. And the first part of this is, again, we're going to set the width to auto. We're going to add color white for this. If you want to use hexadecimal, that's fine. I'm going to change the font size. We're going to set it to 100 pixels. You can change them as you want. Font weight, let's do this one as well. Font weight, so I want to make them a little bit fatter, bold. And I want to add a font family. We'll change this later. You can add Roboto or whatever. I'm just going to remove the feet on sans serif. There we go. So there's no feet on my text. And text transform, everything, I want everything to be uppercase. Uppercase. Oh, that's not what it's called. It's called text transform uppercase. Uppercase, there we go. And position relative. So again, make sure it fits with the parent element here. So let's click save, see what this does. So this makes it look like this, right? So we center thing, it's a black background, that's awesome. I also want to add a little bit more to a text before. So we're going to use a pseudo CSS called before and manipulate these things here. So the first one I want to do is content, and I want to use the attribute here. And we're going to target the data text, which is the one we have in here, right? So they're connected to each other. So we start manipulating things. And the next thing I want to do is I want to position absolute on this one. So it's a little bit more floaty, absolute. And I want to add a filter later on, and I want to add a mix for it later on. But let's see what this does. So really no changes as of yet. So for the next thing I want to do is the mix blend called difference, which basically I can show you and then we'll go through it afterwards. So mix blend mode like this, and then difference, there we go. And difference subtracts the bottom layer from the top layer, or the other way around, to always get a non-negative value. So in this case, when we add this to our text here, because we have both text in here, right? We get this really like thin, not super awesome outline of it here. So it's not pretty. It's definitely not what we have here, right? Well, it's still working. This is a little bit more like super easy to see. So what we can do to kind of like create that effect, we can add a filter to this, and we're going to use the top one, which is blur. And in this case, we're going to use 0.0 EM, and you can change this to pixels if you want to. But let's click save. Let's go back on this refresh. So now you can see we have a much more smoother outline of our text. But again, we're using the difference to, as I mentioned, create this outline here, because we have the data text here, which is being passed in or pushed in here along with these. So these two layers will work together with the difference here. Cool. So that's how we can also create this kind of effect over here. Instead of using SVG, we're just using HTML to do it. Okay, that's the next part of it. See you in the next video.